Schools in the northern areas of Port Elizabeth in the Eastern Cape will remain closed today. Now, that's after protest turned violent yesterday. Police fired rubber bullets and used water cannons to try and disperse the protesters there. Pupils and parents were marching over the closure of more than 30 schools, and that's due to a shortage of teachers at those schools. To give us an update on what's happening on the ground, we're now joined on the line from Port Elizabeth by our reporter, Iviwe Poti. Iviwe, a very good morning to you. Thank you so much for your time. What is the situation as we speak?
Good morning, Ayanda. As we speak in the northern areas, the situation is still a bit tense. There is a visibility of police officers and traffic officials. There is no protesting or any sign of violence or a march that will take place today. There was a meeting last night between the Northern Areas Education Forum, parents and community members, to try and talk out the situation of the violent protest that broke out yesterday, which wasn't initially the plan of the SGBs and the pupils. But obviously other community members took matters in their own hands and it did turn violent. So they, last night at 6 o'clock, met, they spoke about it, and they did plead with community members to please let people make their way to work today and try by all means to, stay away from the violent protest.
Iviwe, what was the plan? If it was not to cause the chaos and destruction that we saw on our screens, what had they originally planned to do to highlight their grievances?
Well, speaking to Richard Drive, who's part of the Northern Areas Education Forum, it was just, to kind of close down the northern areas with no violence, but to kind of highlight their plight of a lack of teacher shortages as well as the quality of education that is at their school. Because you will remember that part of their grievances is not only teacher shortages, but as well as, the lack of assistant staff and admin staff and some of the things that actually add to the quality of education that they're not happy with.
I believe the Education MEC from the Eastern Cape will be meeting with the various officials from the forum and the schools that are affected to try and iron things out. What are the people saying when it comes to the education department turning the blame back to the schools and saying, well, the schools didn't fill out the proper paperwork to make sure that the vacancies are filled out? Are they buying that?
When we spoke to Richard Mates, who's the chairperson of the Northern Areas Forum, he said that many of the principals and the SGBs felt that the report that was given over last week, Thursday, by the Department of Education was flawed, and that today at 2 o'clock they're going to meet with the MEC as well as the Department of Education in the district to show them proof that they did submit actually the documentation that they were supposed to submit, and it's not on their side as the schools, that there's been a stalling process within the whole process of trying to have these teachers. But speaking to the spokesperson of education, Loiso Pulmani, he said some of the problem is that they have given other teachers promotions, so they've become principals and deputy principals, so then their positions became vacant.
Education in general in the Eastern Cape has been problematic for a while now. When it comes to infrastructure, we know mud structures are there. Is this perhaps a sign of things to come? And I don't want to be alarmist in any way, shape or form, but could this be a catalyst of even more unrest where people are saying enough is enough?
No, I think education as a whole is not only a problem original to the northern areas, and the department on their side are also trying, because you will remember that last year when the northern areas did close schools and the Eastern Cape as a whole had a problem with, Port Elizabeth in fact, had a problem with teacher shortages. The MEC did come out to make more positions available. He gave about 122 positions to try and find teachers, and they also, tried to work hand in hand with principals and teachers, saying that if they could find teachers also themselves, those teachers that were doing voluntary work that were paid by SGBs, they would make those teachers permanent as well. It is a problem that the Department of Education in the Eastern Cape is facing, but it's definitely a problem that they're trying to tackle as quick as possible.
We'll have to leave it there, at least for now. I wonder whether or not they're looking at hiring teachers from the rest of the country. I know quite a number of qualified unemployed teachers who are trying to make ends meet throughout the course of time since they had graduated and all over South Africa. Well, that's a story, another one that we'll have to put on our radar to keep an eye on. And thank you so much to you, Iviwe Poti.